Great, 11 o'clock. I'll go ahead and get started with the intro here as we get started, but excited to have everyone back after the new year. For those of you guys that don't know, I'm Josh from Uncommon Sports Group, and pleasure kind of organizing the technology behind all this. So appreciate y'all. If you don't have any questions or don't have a speaking part, if you can mute yourself, that would be huge. That really helps us out. But I'll go ahead and get started. Just kind of a couple updates from us at Uncommon. If you guys haven't seen our football game ball awards presented by or kind of co-sponsored by Big Game are running. Right now you can go on our cleanout.org page. See us on Twitter. There's a link there too. Please vote. We got about a week left. Awesome turnout so far for those two awards. Again, that's football equipment manager and student manager are going right now. The other thing I've gotten a lot of questions on, we are going to have a men's and women's basketball manager coming up closer to the end of the season, as well as we're going to do the Olympic sports equipment manager and equipment manager or equipment director, a leadership position of the year awards too. So that'll come later this year. We are kicking off a new book study. For those of you guys who want to join, we provide the book to you. I just need to know if you want to sign up. We meet on Mondays about this same time via Zoom. And this we're going to do Unscripted by Ernie Johnson. So if you've ever wanted to read a book, maybe it's a New Year's resolution to do something new, or maybe you want to find time in your day to do something for yourself, like we're going to talk about today. Love to have you. Just equipment managers. Love to organize it, and it's been really successful thus far. And last couple plugs: if you need boxes, bags for donations, if you've got stuff, if you know you got stuff coming in, and you got to make space or you're moving, would love to help you find a new home for all of that gear that you don't know what to do with. So, please send us. And this past year, just some quick numbers: we've had 120 students go through our training platform. 80 students attended professional training, things like that. We've done $40,000 in scholarships and sent 20 overseas on a mission trip. And that's all thanks to those donations. So appreciate you guys. And last thing, those of you guys that know Drew Bowe, our executive director, he's been working hard on a new conference. So Christians Working in Sports, CWS conference, coming this summer in Minneapolis. So I know some of you have been a part of that and getting that set up, and excited to see where that goes. For those of you who have interest in that or have questions, feel free to reach out to me. My email is josh@uncommonsg.org. So josh@uncommonsg.org. You can email me, ask any questions. We go from there. So CEUs, just kind of as a reminder, we are collecting information to get through CEUs on that. So just the reason why I bring that up and we have you guys put your names in there, it helps us out. And for the first time, at the end of the call, we'll be sharing the QR code. Those of you guys that were at AMA or even this past AFCA, AMA has been using QR codes to kind of help log sessions and things that you guys are at. So we'll be using that as well for the upcoming year as well. So that'll be, or for this session and hopefully sessions going forward. So that QR code will appear at the end of the call, and that way you'll be able to use your phone, highlight that, and then log the session. It'll show up pretty much instantly in your AMA portal. So, and lastly, future sessions coming up here for you guys. The next one's going to be, we got a couple of them in February. This schedule takes us all the way out through August, which will be pretty exciting. Some great sessions. Again, if you guys have ideas for sessions or want to be part of any of these sessions, please let me know and be glad to, or let the folks that are running the this board know, and we can kind of get those on the docket and talk about them and get planning going for them. So excited for the schedule ahead. And to get started for today, we got 5 pretty awesome people taking time to join us for today's panel. Again, today we're focusing on work-life balance. I think this is probably one of the more popular topics as far as you guys are concerned. really is hard to accomplish a lot of times. And I feel like the 5 that we got here will kind of help us. So goal of this is to go through a little bit of introductions with everybody, have some questions, then leave time at the end for everybody to kind of, ask their own questions as we will. So real quick, Nicole, we'll start out with you. If you can do a little introduction of yourself and kind of what this topic means to you.
Hi, I'm Nicole Clark. I just started at Colby College. I was at Bates College previously. I'm now assistant AD/head equipment manager at Colby. So this topic's very important to me because it was something that I had to stress in my interview here. So I'm hoping for a better work-life balance here, and I'll talk more about that later.
Awesome. Thanks, Nicole. And Katie, would you share a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, my name is Katie. I'm at Colorado State University. It's actually kind of funny. Today we have a snow day and they've told us all not to come in until this afternoon. So perfect timing for a work-life balance talk is to do it from my house, which is a rare day off for us. So I thought that was kind of funny. I've been at Colorado State for 3 years now.
Thanks, Katie. Al, would you mind sharing a little bit?
Absolutely. Al Serby, Kansas State football, director of football equipment here. Been here 16 seasons now. Got here in 2007 as the assistant, and then 2011 took over my role. Originally from Memphis, and did junior college for a couple of years, and really excited to be a part of this panel and talk with everybody.
And next, Larry, would you share a little bit? You're muted.
Yep, there we go. Now I went on back off again. Larry Hare, Assistant Athletic Director of Equipment Operations at the University of Kansas. It's my 18th season is at Kansas. It's my 31st overall in equipment operations with stops at Boston College in Northern Arizona and the University of Connecticut. And grateful I was thought of to be included here. Lots of good friends and colleagues in this group. So grateful to share today.
Awesome. And lastly, Stick, would you mind sharing a little bit?
How we doing, everybody? Stick. My real name is Preston, for y'all who don't know that. I'm just an equipment guy. 10 years in the game. Stops, Indy, intern, University of Miami, University of Northern Colorado, Mississippi State, New England Patriots. Just excited to share. Thanks for having me. Looking forward to it.
Thanks, Dick. We'll dive in. First question, we'll kind of have everyone to kind of get the conversation started. Is a good question. As far as boundaries, I know that's probably the toughest, part of this conversation is establishing boundaries, or how to establish boundaries. What kind of boundaries do you establish? Obviously, they're a lot easier to do when you have been at a place for a few more years or during certain seasons. So we'll go in reverse order. Stick, we'll start with you. Kind of talk about that boundaries. How do you set them? How, are they that important for you during certain times of the year? Or are they a little bit more flexible here and there? You give us a little feedback on that.
So when I was on the college level, for me, and this is, you're never off. Okay. So you may go to work at 5 a.m. You may try, especially in the off season, you may try to leave at like 1 or 2 to go do some things, run some errands. About 12:30, 12:45, somebody's gonna come to the equipment room and say, "Hey, I need X, Y, and Z." And you're like, "Man, I've been here all day. I'm trying to get away, and now you're coming in here." So this is what I did. So when I knew I was leaving, at a certain point, till to this day, my phone goes on do not disturb. At a certain point, boom, like 10 o'clock, do not disturb. So if you ever texted me and I text you back at like 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning, I had woken up. So that's I always tell coaches this. I'm leaving. Coach, if you need me, especially if it's not the head coach, or if it's not, it wasn't the AD. If it wasn't the head coach or AD, if it was an assistant, hey, listen, I'm not coming back. Here's my assistant's number, call them. But Mike Leach one time called me. It's like 11:30 at night. hey, Stick, what are you doing? I said, Coach, what do you need? And like, hey, can I get 6 hats? I'm going hunting in the morning. I said, Coach, well, it's funny. There's 6 hats in my garage right now. Color matter, don't really care. No, Coach, he stayed 3 minutes from my house. So I got in my truck and drove 3 minutes to his house and ended up standing up like 2 o'clock in the morning talking to Coach Leach on his front porch about hats. And this is like a random July night. But with him, it was different. So you establish your boundaries on how much you like this coach. Is it somebody you can get along with? Is it somebody who's a pain, who just, always wants stuff, that don't understand, hey, this person has a life too? Now, you can't have some of those coaches, they just don't care about what you do outside of work. They don't care about your family life. They don't care. They want you always working. Is that something that you want to be there for the long haul? Because at the end of the day, that matters. Your core values matter. The relationship in your work environment matters. That's why everybody leaves now, because the burnout of the coaches and all the other external staff want so much of this person that they can't do it all. So they jump jobs and do whatever. So I just try to establish that up front. Hey, coach, this is what I can do for you. This is what you're going to get from my department. Anything outside of that can be discussed. And you go from there. So you kind of set them baby steps along the way. Hey, you're not going to run me over. Now, if as a young person in the profession, you have to know about how to do that. I started as a student in 05, almost 20 years ago. The game has changed in 20 years. My head coach now, Coach Belichick, if he calls me, it's important. If he texts me, I can get back to him. But if he comes in my office right now and knocks on that door, I'm going to pause his Zoom call, because he walked down here, so I know he needs something. He never comes down here unless it's very important. Or sometimes he just shoot me a text, say, hey, come to my office real quick, and he needs something for his foundation or something like that. But that's the role that was put in place a year ago. He said, hey, this is what I need from you. What do you need from me? We had a whole conversation. So I know how his mind works and what he wants and how to fulfill those deals. So I think that's what you need to do. Establish a foundation and build upon that.
Perfect. Thanks, Stick. Yeah, it was a big one. Definitely having that conversation, getting to know your staffs that you're working with is huge. Larry, would you mind sharing a little bit?
Yeah. I think one of the things I learned over time is this is a service-oriented job. And we can go into each day with our list of priorities, of things we want to get done. But we know many days that's going to be subservient to what pops up. I've said that if every package arrived on time, complete and accurate, if the weather never changed and a coach never changed their minds, this would probably be the easiest job in America. But since most of those things will go awry, and sometimes all of them in the same morning, we have to be able to adapt and manage those things. But I think along the way, going into the day, if you go into a day and you're trying to get 10 projects done, you're going to beat yourself against the wall, because you probably aren't, unless it's a Sunday and you're in there all by yourself. And let's be smart about how often we do that when we don't need to be there. But go into the day with small, attainable, prioritized projects. And that's what I try to do. If I just get these 2 or 3 things done, in addition to all of the other things that I know are going to pop up today. And hey, if I get to the 3rd or the 4th, great. Well, let's get these 2 or 3 done. And that for me is, at the end of the day, if I didn't get to any of them, then, hey, let's take an hour here. Let's get these things knocked out and feel good about that. So I think you're cutting yourself a little bit of a break, but also being realistic in what we're expected to accomplish each day. We all know that can change from morning to morning. It changes from during preseason to postseason. But I think when you know that your day is at the mercy of your administrators, your coaches, your athletes, well, accept that. Okay, these are the windows of time. I'm not going to get a lot done if your team practices in the afternoon. I'm just not going to get a lot done from 1, 2, 3, or 4, other than prepping them for practice. And that's just the way it's going to be. So let me take advantage of, find those moments in the day where I can get more done. For me, I can get more done between 8 and 9 and 5 and 6 than I can virtually any other hour of the day. So maximize those hours. Feel good about what you accomplished there. Be honest with yourself. Hey, I I spent it looking at Twitter. All right, well, let's add a little bit on the end of the day and make sure we get just those 1 or 2 goals done. And when you did and you prioritize, those are the right 2 or 3 things to get done for that day. Then you're good going home. Everything's buttoned up, then get out of there. Because we all know we could stay all night long with the list of to-dos. And there comes a time when you got to meet that. But let's be honest, that's not how we want to spend every day. Small goals, attainable goals each day. Take care of your constituents, take care of them. And when you can button it up at the end of the day, step away and go home.
Thanks, Larry. Al, you want to share a little bit?
Yeah, I will. I guess the more that I thought about the question and the boundaries, I really kind of set that up from a family aspect. I have 3 kids. I have a 5-year-old who just started kindergarten. I've got a 3-year-old as of this past Friday, and then I have a 7-month-old daughter. So like Larry said, you could be working all the time in this profession. This profession never slows down. This profession is always changing and going. And that's whether it's your job or if you're a part of AMA and you're trying to make a difference amongst a committee or a district or just trying to become a better equipment manager. So, I mean, right now my boundaries are big on the family aspect, right? So football season, I'm practicing in the afternoon, means, I'm lucky if I'm home by 7:30, 8 o'clock to see the kiddos before they go to sleep and things like that, especially when you have a newborn. So for me, it's okay. Morning time is I'm taking my kids to school and I've got a coach, luckily, that's pretty good about that. He's not a meeting type of person where, you're in a staff meeting every single day at 8 o'clock or 9 o'clock even. So one of my boundaries during the football season is that, and I, communicate with my staff is I'm not going to be here maybe at a certain time because of getting the kids rounded up and spending time with them maybe. And maybe it's spending 5 more minutes doing something before we go out the door. And also when you have kids and they're all under 5 years old, it's quite the chore to get them rounded up and get them in the cars and take them to kindergarten or to preschool and all those things. So, to me, it's, it's not a specific time getting to work. It's getting that done. And then I get into work and then I get it going. So we're already working at abnormal amount of hours when you're in a football grind of a season or in any sports season, you're working over your abnormal hours and stuff like that. So that's one boundary kind of. And then the other boundary I've set up for myself is now in this off season, I'm trying to be better, especially when we start getting into morning practice during spring practice. It's okay. Now my daughter gets out of school at kindergarten at like 3:55 or something. So I'm going to make it a goal to try to pick her up a majority of days. And then probably go get my son after that, unless I would just want to spend some time with her. So trying to, set those boundaries is what I'm trying to be pretty goal oriented about right now. And because I want to be a good dad as much as I want to be a great equipment manager. And I want to impact the 12 kids that are a part of my staff. At the end of the day, those 3 kids are the best, and nothing is better than when those 3 kids come running into the laundry room after a game and stuff like that. So those are the kind of boundaries that I'm working on right now.
Awesome. Thanks, Al. Katie, you want to join in on that?
Yeah, I think one of the biggest ones for me is like I big on the to-do lists. I have so many notepads with different color coded to-do lists and things like that. And sticking to those for my daily tasks. And like once those are done, especially if there's nothing else going on, like if there's not a game day or things like that, like I leave and I have it's taken many years, but leave the guilt of leaving early behind. Because if I don't need to be there at 4, if I'm the last one in the building and it's 4, then I can leave. Like, it's not a big deal anymore. And I think we've, equipment managers are the first ones in, the last ones out, and we're very proud of that. And that is something that's been ingrained in our profession. And I think part of it was the pandemic, but our university really pushed on us of, if you don't need to be here, don't be here. And our admin was like, take that very seriously. Like, if we don't want to see you as the only person in the building anymore. And so I think our admin really helped with establishing that boundary and being able to leave. I would leave at 4 o'clock, maybe once or twice a week during a slow season. And it's wonderful to get home and like walk my dogs and be able to leave, and not having like that guilt of, oh, well, I could have done this still. Like, well, that can make it till tomorrow, as long as my to-do list is done. And then with coaches, I've really established, like, during the workday, if you need something, come down, we'll get it done. If you text me at 6 p.m. and say, hey, oh, I forgot to grab this, like, are you still here? Like, I can get it for you first thing in the morning. I'll leave it at your office, whatever, but I'm not coming back in. Because I live close, and everyone knows I live close. So a lot of times people, well, can you just pop back? Like, I'll meet you there. Establishing, once I've left, unless it is an emergency, I'm not coming back to grab it for you. We can grab first thing in the morning. And I think they've kind of trained themselves to think ahead a little bit. Like, okay, if I need something, hit up the equipment room before. Otherwise, you're just gonna have to wait till morning. And I think in every profession except for ours, that is a normal response of, oh, we left for the day, I can't come back. So helping coaches understand that we can establish these boundaries, and having a reason to come home. Like, my first job, I adopted a dog because I worked 16-hour days, and I was like, I might as well, I don't have anything at home. So I adopted my puppy, and I was like, oh, sorry, coaches, I gotta go home. And having a reason to go home really helps establish that, and learning to leave the office when you can and not holding the guilt with it.
Yeah, I think all I could see a collective nod across everyone of that guilt, and everyone nodded their head on that. So that's awesome. Thanks, Katie. Nicole, would you finish us up sharing with this question?
Yeah, Katie just took all of my words out of my mouth. But so, like, with the guilt of leaving early, like, we're all like, I think we kind of did this to ourselves, right? Like Katie said, like, the first in, last out. We're all very passionate about our jobs, and we love what we do. But I think just the communication is key. And so, like, if I'm on vacation, I have had to like uninstall my email on my phone just so I won't sit there and check it while I'm on vacation. And like, I think that's perfectly fine. That's part of my boundaries, and like, set your boundaries and stick to them. Like, stop letting people make everything an emergency situation. And then for me, like what Al was saying, family is key, number one for me. So sometimes that looks like my daughter coming into work with me, and that's how we spend time together. So she'll be like on the football sideline with me. She's helped me like fix back plates and stuff like that. So we find a way to make it work and have family time even while I'm still at work.
Perfect. Thanks, Nicole. Next kind of topic or question, and we'll come right back to you, Nicole. What do you do to take time out throughout the week? So is there certain activities that you do? I know you mentioned bringing kids, into work, but, do you take time throughout the week to kind of set aside for yourself? And what is it that you do, and how do you block that off? How do you communicate that and go through that? So we'll start with Nicole and work our way back through.
Yeah, for me, I stick to my lunch break. So I have a strict noon to 1 is my lunch break. I'm not going to be here. My window is shut. And that's my workout time. So I do boot camps at work. If there's not a class going on, like, I'll just walk the track, but that's my time. So it helps me get out of the office, clear my mind, and then it helps me refocus for the second half of the day.
Perfect. Thanks, Nicole. Katie, you want to share a little bit?
Yeah, I in certain seasons, I live in Fort Collins, Colorado, gorgeous area. So I get out and hike in the mornings whenever I can. If there's not a meeting in the morning, or if we've got a game at 8, walkthroughs not till noon, I'm hiking in the morning, or I'm out there paddleboarding in like my neighborhood lake. Like I try to get out whenever I can into the outdoors, or walk the dogs. Like, I've got 2 big dogs, they need exercise. So they need exercise means I need exercise. So I really walking the dogs, getting out and hiking or paddleboarding in the morning when I can. And then in the winter, it's a little bit harder, but still establishing like some sort of fun thing to do when I can, snowshoeing or whatever. It's helpful having my fiance skis, so him skiing helps me get out of town and enjoying the outdoors. So that's helpful as well.
Awesome. Thanks, Katie. Alan, besides picking up and taking the kids to school, what are you doing for yourself?
I'm a huge NASCAR fan. So Sundays, there's a couple hours when I watch the race, try to fold laundry, and maybe I'll work on some fun work projects during the race or whatever. But I'm lucky, NASCAR is a huge long season. So between February to the end of or beginning of November, I watch the race on Sundays, and I'll try to catch some other races on a Saturday night or Friday night to decompress and just watch the cars go around and lots of other stuff. And I kind of do the same with golf because I'm a huge golf fan. I probably actually like to watch it more than the frustrations of playing it. But I like to play it when I can have time to get out onto the course. And so I will try to, every once in a while, make a point to get my dad out on the course because he lives here in town now. And so in the spring, I'll kind of make it a goal at certain times to get him and make a Friday where I'm off. And so little things like that, maybe during the springtime, take a me day and be off Monday through Friday. And just me and just do what I need to do on my schedule and not on other schedules. And I guess the other thing, real quick, that is something I'm gonna kind of do coming up here is now that my daughter is in kindergarten, like she's gonna be off on certain Fridays or Mondays or extended weekends. Like I'm gonna take that day, and instead of her having to go, and do something else, be another kid my mom has to watch between already my youngest and 2 other twin daughters, I'll take my daughter and we'll go golfing or something, and I'll do something fun with her. Or, we'll have a day where we go do different stuff, or she'll come to the office with me because like Nicole said, I've started to bring my daughter into work more often, especially on random days like this past training camp when we just had a mock hotel day. So we really didn't have practice. There was nothing my students need to be here. So I sent them out of here. I sent my whole assistants out of here. I was like, I got it covered and I'm going to make fun with it. And I'm going to bring my daughter with me. So those are a couple things, that I have kind of come up with.
Awesome. Thanks, Al. Larry, I know between officiating and being a dad, I know you got your hands full there. How do you balance it all and how are you making time?
Well, and I didn't, and that was going to be my point. And Al said, and everyone said it here. You need to find your thing. You need to find that thing that distracts you, that makes you not look at your phone, that makes you that makes you maybe incommunicado for a little bit. Try visiting Yellowstone. It'll make it like your phone doesn't even exist. Just details like that. But find that thing that makes you leave. And more specific, everyone's given great examples here. And it's more, well, just my family. No, is it a certain family event? I'll give you an example. 2 things you brought up, one, Josh, and I'll come back to that. But one is my daughter is a high school athlete and I build my day around her events. So this past Saturday, we had a 3:00 tip against Iowa State. And normally I'd be in the building 4.5 hours for the game. But on Friday, I did most of the duties I would normally do. We didn't have shoot around. I did most of those duties on Friday afternoon before I left. So I could watch Elizabeth play volleyball in Kansas City at 9 and 10 and be back on campus about 12:15 or so. So now it was 2:45 before the game, but all those earlier things were done. And in our minds, like, oh my God, I'm not in the building 3 or 4 hours before the game. It's okay. The part of what I'm going to, in the tips, I'm going to talk about credibility and trust and building that. But it was okay. Like there wasn't I was in the building when I needed to be. When the players start rolling in 2 hours before, I was here. I was ready to go. But I saw my daughter play 2 of her 3 pool play matches that day. And as much as I've been proud to be equipment manager for thousands of young men and women, I'm proudest to be hers. And so when I can be there to support her and making snacks in the morning and being there and, hey, Dad, you know, here's my laundry. Can you have it ready for tomorrow morning? Like I love that. I'll stay up all night to take care of her. And so for me, that's paying that forward. And the other part is I'm a women's college basketball official. I got into this 20 years ago. I work, it's nice to have built some credibility. They will use me when I'm available. Sometimes it's once a week. Sometimes it's 2 or 3. When the team goes away, I can sneak out the door. I find the time in the car allows me to return phone calls and give it people one-on-one time that I can't do when I'm sitting in my office. And I really only go incommunicado at about 5:30 of a given evening, once or twice a week. And at that point, that's the mental break. Now I'm thinking about something else for 2 or 3 hours. I can't be reached and I can't think about anything else, because when you're officiating and trying to do it right, that's a full-time job. And when I explain to some people that I do officiate as a mental health break, people don't understand what my day job is. But there's the head coach down at Oklahoma State, the women's coach, came from UMKC. I officiated many of her scrimmages. And when I said that around somebody, they said, that's not possible. And they said, you don't know Larry's day job. Officiating is people screaming at me. It happens to everybody. But people screaming at me, whether it's a few hundred or a few thousand, is still much more therapeutic and a balance to the chaos of the day job. Because for me, it's a mental break. I'm thinking about something else. I dive into the rules. I know what I'm doing, and that's my focus. And I didn't realize that, folks, until I took 2 years away from officiating. And I did it to time at home. I had a nice Division I schedule. And my wife, 18 months into that, said, you already led an unbalanced life. I didn't realize the relief that and mental balance that officiating gave you. Now your life's way out of balance. Now the time that would be with us is actually more in the office. So she said, if you can go back to I'm not trying to lose time with you, but if you can go back to officiating and balance it with work, know you have my support and blessing, because you're healthier physically and healthier mentally with that in your life. I can't tell you how empowering that moment was, and was one of the most loving statements my wife ever gave me. I work 30 games in the course of the year. So over 4 or 5 months, it's 6, 7 games in the course of a month, or maybe it's probably more like 8. And it is such a great balance in trying to maintain a healthy lifestyle. And I'll speak to the next one about what I do to make sure that the world doesn't come to an end when I walk out the door, because it's not. But we got to do our due diligence getting to that point.
Yeah. Thanks, Larry. Stick, you want to chime in on that one?
I don't know if I can follow up with all those great insights. For me, so the NFL is way different than college. Okay. So I work 7 days a week. There's no, from July till we stopped playing 2 weeks ago, 7 days a week. Now, there's nothing going on. I work from like maybe 8 till 4, 8 to 6. I got a lot of stuff I'm trying to do in the office, catch up paperwork, NFL talks, Pro Bowl stuff. For me, though, when I need something to get away, I'm an outdoorsman. So I had a trip planned to fly home to Mississippi, use my lifetime license to go sit in a tree stand for 3 hours where you can't touch me, can't get to me. The only person who ever called me when I was sitting in a tree stand was George Joe, Pack Sports. Kept calling. I finally answered. I said, George, if this deer gets away from me, I'm on the phone with you, I'm gonna be very highly upset. So he hangs the phone up. So I text me, I'll call you back. I'm like, yeah, whatever. Nobody came out. got in the dish at 4:30, left at like 8. It was freezing cold, brutal. It's either that or I go clay shooting. I found the spot up here. Our security guy for the stadium is former Secret Service, great human being. So we go throw plays. I shoot 200, 300 shells. My mind's clear. I can work, I can focus, I can do what I got to do. But up here it's a grind. So you just have to know it's the same way it is down there. But we play Thursday night. We're 4 extended trips. So like I try to take my guys out to dinner. Wherever city we go, I pick up the tab, I take them out. We have a great time. Preseason, went to Vegas, Miami for 5 days, back to Vegas, like 6 days in the season, Arizona. Now I'm going back to Vegas. I've been to Vegas 3 times in 4 months. They might think I'm a high roller or something. I don't know. But it's just about how you can start your day. And when you feel yourself hitting that wall, I'll get out this chair and I'll go walk the 300 level. I'll let the cold air hit me in the face, wake up. Because when you land at 3:30 in the morning, unload the plane, back in the office at 4:30, and you work until 2, 3 o'clock the next day. Like I might sleep an hour and a half on my floor or go get in the truck, sleep in my truck. But you never leave this place in the season. It's just, you don't. So you have to find something that helps you. So in Vegas, we get out there early, I think. The SHOT Show this weekend, I'm gonna go out in the desert and have some fun. So that's gonna be my idea. I'm gonna take the guys, we're gonna have some lead there. It's gonna be awesome. So that's how I decompress. I get away from the world. I leave my phone for 2, 3 hours. Like Larry said, you have to put that phone down. This thing cannot handicap your life. Everything's there. You got Twitter, social media, your emails there. People call. I call Larry on my way to work sometimes. Like, hey Larry, how you doing? Just checking on you. Like blah blah blah. You know, Jalen will call me on my way home. I try to return calls when I get in the truck because I know, hey, I'm in a meeting. I was supposed to call you back 2 hours ago. I apologize. Don't take it personal. Like Drew Bro emailed me 4 times already. I'm emailing him back. I'm texting, hey bro, I promise I'm not being rude. I'm just rolling right now. It's part of it. So like on my desk, I'm looking at 4 legal pads and the 5th over here. All of them have something else to do differently. Hey, call this person, pack this bag, send this package. You know, it's you're glued to this deal, so you have to find something that can release you to reset your focus and then go back into it with a fresh mind state.
Awesome, thanks. I think the big thing is everyone kind of sum everybody up is find your thing. Find your thing that you're passionate about that can, you know, block your mind from your day to day. I know even when I was on campus, it was, you know, I found pickup basketball games in the rec with students was something when I was younger that would get me away, and was a good time, and it was good to get to know the students at that level. But and coaches couldn't find me, which was great. So last question before we kind of jump into kind of opening it up, and we'll start back at you, Stick. What advice and tips would you give someone new to the profession? So I'm sure we got some folks that are new or maybe some student managers that are looking at this. You know, what kind of tips to getting to that healthy balance? And I know that's kind of an oxymoron, right? Is one of those things where you're trying to get yourself in the industry, get started, you're willing to grind, but how do you set those boundaries early on and understand taking care of yourself? Because I know, you know, burnout is a real thing. So you can give us some tips, Stick. We'll kind of work our way through the list again.
Oof. Let me kick this around in my head real quick so I know how to put this out without sounding really. I would for okay, young person, this profession, okay. And you can ask anybody on this panel, you can ask anybody on this, your colleagues or whatever. In this profession, all you have is your name and your work ethic that propels you to wherever you want to go. Okay. So like, let's take Larry here for a second here. Okay. Larry's been my good friend for a long time. I call Larry with questions all the time. I'm gonna tell you what, Larry helped me out the last 3 years. The last 3 years were, well, past, post 2020, 2020 was probably 2021 was probably the hardest year ever in my whole career doing this job full time. And I think I probably called Larry Harrell and a few others around the country probably 4 times in the week. Larry never complained. He always took my call. He listened. He gave sound advice. So what I would say for a young person coming in to establish your boundaries, I would figure out what other people are doing. And I would take those pieces and I would try to fit them to what works best for you. Hey, if you want to tell your staff, hey, I'm coming in 30 minutes later because you want to take your girlfriend or your wife or your partner, you want to take them to dinner, to breakfast or something, you want to take the kids to school, you do that because you want to set yourself up to have the best day possible in the equipment room, because it's not about you. The student athletes need the best of you. Whatever you can bring to the table for that day, that's what you need to bring to the table. So I don't care if you want to come in an hour later or 2 hours later. I would always ask my people, hey, how can I help you put yourself in the best position to be successful here? And I was asking that. And I would say, hey, in 2 years, I want you out here. And this is why, because I gave them the tools to say, hey, okay, Stick, I want to do X, Y, and Z. This is how I'm going to do it. I'm going to talk to this coach and I'm going to get all my stuff done. So I would say, have a plan, establish your plan with your superiors, and then I would go talk to my coaches one-on-one and say, hey, coach, this week, this is what we got going on. This is the game. This is the time. I'm going to be in the office at these times, blah, blah, blah. And you'll be amazed how that coach will sit back in their chair and be like, okay, I can work with that. You need to be able to present yourself for what you want to do. And what I mean by that is don't go in there timid. Don't have slap shoulders. Just have a conversation like you're talking to your best friend on the phone. If you got that kind of relationship or something, or you'd be surprised. Some of those coaches would be taken aback and like, oh, I didn't know all this was going on because you never opened your mouth. Now, secondly, that's what I would say. Talk, because nobody knows what you're going through if you don't open your mouth and say, hey, this is what's bothering me. This is what I want to do to fix it. Can we get on the same page? I can tell you numerous times how many times I've called Will, Al, Chuck Hall, Josh, Jalen, Katie, what do you think about this? This is what I want to do. Bounce it around your head, call me back. And she'll call me back and say, hey, Stick, I will do X, Y, and Z. And I'll write that down and I'll make it fit to me. I will take people I trusted ideas and I'll make those ideas fit. Because what all this game is a copycat game. Oh, he did this or she did that. Make it work for you. So you establish yourself, hey, I'm not a pushover. I can be fair, but don't be that person that nobody likes to talk to because you just unapproachable. Be approachable, have a smile, be available. That's the only thing I can really tell you. That's your work ethic and your smile and your openness to change. Change is the key. Will set you up for greatness.
Thanks, Stick. Larry, would you add anything to that?
You know, it's like Stick's reading my outline here. So talk about being on the same page. Line with my brother Stick there. Hey, I think I'm an agreeable person on a number of fronts, except when you screw with my credibility, because I've spent a lot of time. Building that up. I've spent a lot with coaches, with all of you. So here's my feeling is working off what Stick said, is building trust and credibility with your coaches, maximizing your time when you're in the office. If your day has to involve 1 hour of cruising Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter, whatever it is, do it before you go to work, do it after. So when you get into work, you hit the ground running. Maximize and be productive while you are there. So don't go in early. That's how I would manage that. But at the same time, and then Stick brought it up again, communicating. So here's all the things I've put in order. I'm going to step out early this day for this reason, but here's all the things that are done, making sure all your constituents know, hey, I am available on my cell. Now, for this 1 hour in here, I'm going to be incommunicado because I'll be in the air, whatever it is. Over communicate those things. There's only going to be 2 reactions at that point. If you've been doing your job, it's going to be, hey, good for you, or hey, no problem, or hey, thanks for everything in order. Or it can be, geez, he or she's never getting much done around here anyway. They're just sitting behind their desk. What's the difference make if they're not here? Those are the only 2 reactions you're going to get. So aim for the first one, where you get you're supported because of all you're doing the other days, because of how you've communicated, your level of professionalism. You've built credibility. You have your affairs in order. They know if you're stepping away, laundry's done, packages are delivered, this is set up, this is ordered, whatever it is, it's all done. I'm going to miss a banquet in 2 weeks for volleyball. Already talked to the coach because Elizabeth's playing. I don't miss the volleyball banquet to watch. I miss the volleyball banquet to watch my daughter play club volleyball. My head coach is perfectly fine with that. But senior jerseys, letter awards, jackets, blankets, all ordered, all be ready, all be packaged up. I'll sign off on that on Friday. The managers will move it into the banquet area on Sunday. Have your affairs in order, build that trust and credibility. So when you say, coach, this is done, it's done, and no one's worried about it. Then they're maybe less apt to bother you when you're away and when you're out of the office. But that takes time. That's not immediate, but being service-oriented, being open to communication and communicating back. It's not automatic. You have to build that, and it takes time. But when you do, the satisfaction there is invaluable to your own balance and sanity.
It's awesome, Larry. Thank you. Al, do you want to add anything?
Yeah, I mean, kind of talking about summarizing some stuff up. I think it goes back to the people and the relationships, kind of to just tag along with what they were mentioning. And I will say that the one thing that I know I struggled with young in my career, and especially my career, it was extremely fast in some regards, is wasn't very good about taking the time to reach out and talk to others that can be mentors for you. So calling colleagues, calling people, because we all truly like to catch up with one another. And I think in some ways it's a release a little bit, getting some things out of your head, and also it can help you remember things. It might fix issues that you're currently on, but it also may help you remember something or fix another issue that you didn't even know you would end up fixing. I can't tell you, like Preston said, leaning on Larry and his experience, and trusting him, and luckily I have him 45 minutes down the street from me. I have had to train myself to be better, and I feel like it's I'm taking time away from trying to get something done because I'm going to be on the phone but that you got to kind of get yourself out of that mentality. I think relationships are everything in this. And the one little thing that I'll, kind of outside of the workforce is, I think, finding you friends and maybe some people outside, in a community of people outside your work is really good. I know that it took me probably 1 or 2 years, and I was festering around this idea of a men's small group. I knew some people that would be great to do fellowship with and do life with, and I luckily just bolted down, even though it was scary with my schedule and my time. But I was like, no, I'm going to do this. It may be rocky to begin with. It may not be the most structured thing, but at the end of the day, we're getting together and there can be some accountability. And so whether that's, in the summertime, you join a softball team, or you do pick up basketball in the winter, or, you find a small group at your church or your local, fellowship. I think those things really, really help tremendously too in the relationship with those people. So those are kind of couple things that hit home with me.
Awesome. Thanks, Al.
Thank
Katie?
you.
Yeah, just like everyone says, like leaning on your network. Within our organization, we have the women of the AEMA, and we meet monthly, and that has been one of, like, I've had really great mentors as a student. I worked for Stick. I've had great bosses, but having the women of the AEMA, we have kind of like, it's like a sisterhood, and we talk we meet monthly, but I can call any of them and talk about anything. It's not just the work stuff, because you do need sometimes to get out of the work things and the work mindset and stuff. So having a strong like fellowship and network of people and creating those relationships and creating friendships at work. Like, you know, one of my best friends in the office is one of the trainers, and I go into the training room like once a day just to be like, I need to get out of my office. Can we just like sit and chat for a second? And just having someone to like leave with, and she understands what's going on. You know, trainers have the same you know, hurdles that we do, and so having someone in your office to talk to that's not necessarily in the equipment world is nice. And it's just like, I think there's so much can be put into the mentorship and fellowship of each other, like whether that's fellow equipment managers, friends, coaches, whatever it is, creating those relationships. Because when you do falter, because we are human and there's going to be errors, you know, it's going to happen. And when you have that friendship or that relationship, it's so much easier to go through when there's a bad time. And yeah, mentorship. So here's my plug for our mentorship program. If you guys are mentors or mentees or want to become a mentor or mentee, you can email me or Jalen, and we can get you partnered up with someone to help grow your own network and keep this going.
Awesome. Thanks, Katie. Nicole, you want to wrap us up?
Yeah, I mean, echoing the relationship building and like Stick said earlier, doing things for coaches that you like that's reciprocal. If the coaches like you, they're more willing to help you out. Like I have 34 head coaches that I deal with at the D3 level. So like I have to have strong relationships with all of them. But I think a lot of places are recognizing burnout now. And so when I interviewed for the job that I'm in now, like that was one of the first things they brought up to me was their support in the work-life balance. So I think like since COVID, it's really made people, Katie mentioned this earlier too, but also if you are interviewing, like they're not just interviewing you, you interview them as well. So if your work-life balance is something that is important to you, you have to make sure that they know that and they're willing to work with you on that when you're accepting a job in the first place.
All right. Thanks, Nicole. That kind of wraps up the major questions. If anybody has a question they'd like to ask, they can message it in. I'd be glad to ask. But kind of to wrap up, as I'm kind of waiting for that, big kind of takeaways is finding things outside of the workplace to kind of rely on and give yourself some cornerstones to give yourself some balance there. Set some boundaries as far as your time is concerned. I know even I wish I had on campus, I don't know, those of you that have iPhones, this do not disturb function is probably one of the best blessings that Apple's ever given me. The fact that I can turn on, turn off certain times, whether you're driving or at church on Sundays or whatever, you're not getting text messages or, you know, I have dedicated bedtime. Once I hit that 10 o'clock, I don't get any emails and I don't get pings or beeps on my phone. So I challenge anybody that has that, take a look at that functionality. It's helped me a bunch. Wish I would have had that back when I was on campus. So looks like we don't have any questions coming in. To kind of wrap up, since we got a few minutes left, the mentor mentee program, I know Katie just gave it an awesome plug, but here's some more information on it. Big thing, mentorship.engagement@gmail.com. Use that email, hit that up. If you don't worry about writing it down, just take a picture of the screen with your phone, be able to hit that up. Looking for all sides of it. And it's kind of, if you want to look at it, it's almost like a way of a dating app for equipment managers to kind of get to know each other and kind of connect with one another. If you're new or maybe you've been in it, like Al mentioned, the big thing is being in it for a while and kind of networking with others. Don't waste any time doing that. It's especially now as we go into AUMA conference or convention here soon. It's a good way to link it up with people before we get there. So
Yeah, Josh, can I say something real quick? Sorry.
Absolutely,
Before you go to CUs. if you are already in the mentorship program, will you add the that email to your contacts? Because I know sometimes it goes to spam. I sent out the surveys. We're trying to get to the point where we have this program being CEUs. And so in order to get to that, we'll have to have people doing the surveys and having feedback and stuff consistently. So if you are part of the program and you haven't done a survey yet, check your email. And if you didn't get one, let me know. That way I can resend it. That way we can kind of bring this program to the next level.
Awesome. Thanks, Katie. Stick, one question came in though. Did you shoot the deer? Or did it get away? Cooper wants to know.
I don't talk about
Lastly, with the CEUs, here's your QR code. If you guys haven't done that before, just take your phone, open it up on the camera app, pop up, a little yellow box should pop up, or your Safari browser will pop down. Click on one of those. It'll ask you to log into your AMA page, and then just hit, I think it's check-in button, if I remember correctly. You can do that, and we will be double checking it on the back end, but this will really help out Robin and all the crew behind the scenes if everyone can kind of do this on this side of this, and we'll try to keep this going here as well. And do it now, because this does get taken off of the recording. So don't think you can come back and look at the recording and it won't be on there. So make sure you do that now that we have that. And I know Jalen, you wanted to add something before we sign off.
Yeah, in regards to the CEUs, as Josh just went over, scan this QR code. Hopefully this is going to work, and moving forward, this will go directly to Robin, and CEUs will be a whole lot easier to calculate. For the meetings that we've had previously over last semester, I talked to Robin this week, and I am in the process of going through manually, line by line, and assigning the CEUs to see who is certified, who is not, so I can get that documentation to Robin, hopefully in the next few weeks. So we, Robin and myself, are both actively working on that. Also, just wanted to add, at one point in the meeting, we had 93 total people on this call, which is amazing. That's the most that we've had so far. And I want to thank Katie, Nicole, Larry, Hal, and Stick for volunteering to be on the panel today. All 5 of you obviously are very well respected in the profession. We really appreciate you giving your insight today. It was very insightful. We thank you for that. And anybody wants to potentially be on the next panel coming up in a few weeks, actually, topic is managing coaching relationships, which I feel like goes directly into with a lot of things that were discussed today. So if anybody is interested in being a part of that, please reach out to me, Katie, or Josh. And in closing, I would be remiss if I didn't give Madam President the floor, as always, to take the moment to go over anything she would like to discuss with you all. So, Melly.
Well, thank you, Jalen, again. First off, I don't know if anybody's going to swipe left or right for me in particular for a mentor or mentorship. Actually, I've never used a dating app, I'm embarrassed to say. But anyway, I think this was a great, another wonderful job by the Mentorship and Engagement Committee. I am in awe of what you guys are doing, and you guys are giving another opportunity to not only just get CUs, but to engage with one another. And let's take that this next step at our convention coming up in Oklahoma City. My personal goal is to have 1,000 people by the time I'm done with this 4-year window of being president. The next 4 is not guaranteed. So I'm just focusing on these next three that I got coming. I want 1,000 people at our convention. Wouldn't that be a great problem to have? We really need to, and in order to do that and to keep you guys coming, we got to innovate at our national conventions. And I plan on doing that as well. And you're going to start seeing that right away at this convention coming up. It's going to be terrific. Our Vice President Katrina's got stuff going every night. We're going to have, I don't even want to spill the beans because it's really going to be cool. But I look forward to hopefully seeing as many of you as at convention in June. If you ever need anything, the strategic plan is going to be released to all of you very, very soon. I've spent pretty much the last 8 months working on that. Take the time, take 10 minutes to sit down and really read it. Give me feedback, good, bad, and different. I need to hear from you, but it's a roadmap I've set for our organization moving forward. And it's lofty goals I've got for us as an organization, but we deserve it. We deserve it. I'm proud to be an equipment manager, and I'm proud to be part of this group. And we need an organization that is worthy of each and every one of you. So that's all I got. Thanks for listening to me, and we'll see you guys all on the next Zoomy Zoom.
Thanks, Melly. Thanks, guys. That's it for today. Make sure you scan your QR code, and we'll talk to you again in a couple weeks. See y'all.
See ya. Thank y'all.
Thanks, Josh.
Yeah.
Appreciate you, brother. Hey, I'm working on something for you. I'll call you later.
Thank Josh. Appreciate
Yep.
it.
No problem. Thanks for jumping on, Joe.
Yeah, my apologies here. I've been in and out. I tried to get in here and I just haven't been able to stay on enough, so I
You're good,
apologize.
brother. There'll be a recording, man. No problem. We appreciate you jumping on. It's good.
Yeah, I'm gonna try and get on more of them. The more you have, the more I'll try and get on, I promise you.
Sounds good, Joe. Thanks. Have a good day.
All right, you say bye-bye.